Morning, guys. You know, this lesson, I wanted to go into some of the type of empaths, and specifically the Heyoke empath. Now, there's multiple types of empaths, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know all the details about all of them. I know Carl Jung is a good resource. He studied a good bit of that, the empath, and the different types. I think I've heard of one called like the dark empath. Really, I guess that's the only two that I've looked up. But I want to go into Heyoke, which is the one that I am. It's a very rare type of empath. In fact, it's the rarest one that's out there. Heyoke empaths are highly sensitive people. And I could say that lines up. And I was a very sensitive child. I can very much remember being overwhelmed and feeling the energy of a room as a kid, and feeling the emotion. I think there was a lot of times I would feel it break down in crying or anger or whatever the emotion was that I was feeling when I was a very young child, because I could sense it. I think part of the reason why they put me through that ritual where they split my sensitivity and put it on another child was because I was so sensitive that it was drawing more attention on my family and what they were doing. So they had to find a way to stop that. That was their way of doing that. The Heyoke is known as the sacred clown. And they're a mirror, much like all the empaths. Empaths have the ability to reflect the energy back to a person. Now, when I talk about these are things that you do. These are things you do without trying. This is something that people will pick up on before you open your mouth. They will sense this off of your aura. Now, the thing that makes Heyoke a little different about some of the other empaths is Heyoke reflect negative energy back. Again, this is stuff that you unconsciously do. And as a result, you're very polarizing. People either really like you, and those are usually the people that like themselves. They have a good reflection. Or they hate you. And those are the people that don't like their reflection. And so quite naturally, if you are Heyoke, you will pick up on that you're going to have a lot of people that just for some reason really detest you, and they won't even know anything about you. They just will not like you. And the truth of the matter is that's because they don't like themselves. And the type of energy you bring into the room reflects that back to them. Because you naturally reflect negative energy back to people. Even though you yourself could be a positive person. But it's just the energy you bring into the room. Heyoke also teach in unconventional ways. A lot of times they will actually teach by being an example of what's wrong. Think of maybe like the drunken master. How that's an unconventional way of teaching. Heyoke very much are like that. Another reason why they can be very polarizing. People won't understand their approach. To a lot of people, the way a Heyoke would approach it would solve a problem would seem chaotic, but believe it or not, there is a method to the madness. I already said Heyoke are highly sensitive. You're one of the most, if not the most sensitive out of the empath category if you fall under Heyoke. It's also very rare. Less than 1% of the population becomes Heyoke. You typically see them in Native American culture or people who have Native American ancestors. Y'all ever seen that show Naruto? It's my personal opinion that Naruto's Heyoke empath. Naruto had this ability of having his enemies to be able to reflect and see their negative qualities through him. Of course, after fighting him, because they usually hated him, despised him at first. They fought him, were defeated, and in the struggle, in the battle, ended up Naruto would end up winning them over by somehow being able to cause them to reflect within. Sometimes they would even find sympathy for the boy after the fight. And so he had this magical ability to be able to befriend his enemy just before their defeat. And sometimes it spared them. A lot of times it was their revelation before their doom, their death. It's my opinion that show is using that archetype on Naruto. I also think that many of the Heyoke archetype are used for shaman, just because of how sensitive they are and the unconventional nature that they bring. Shaman are very unconventional in that way too. If you ever meet a shaman, their energy can be quite polarizing. They have a very strong energy. And quite naturally, a Heyoke would be a good candidate for a future shaman. If you're interested in the topic, guys, I encourage you to look it up. Like I said, Carl Jung's a good resource. There are other types, and you could carry multiple gifts each type. You could be clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, all of the above. You don't have to just be one. You don't have to have just one gift. I know when I talk about psychism, it's easy to think that you either have like one gift, kind of like X-Men, right? Like Wolverine just has like claws and healing and can smell really good. And Cyclops shoots laser beams out his eyes. Jean Grey's telekinetic, but and I don't think she's psychic, but in the psychic community, there's a broad spectrum. You're a sensitive person. That's the broad term. You're sensitive, which means you're sensitive to energy. And as you develop your skill and learn more about your gift, then you start to pick up and hone in on your gift, your craft, your talents. And believe it or not, guys, you can learn all of them. You'll probably have a knack for some more than others. But once you find out that you're a sensitive person, maybe begin to awaken some memories. Once you start to realize who you are and work on your talent, And then you would become, I guess, a psychic, you could say. Or a medium. They're both interchangeable terms. A medium is a psychic, and a psychic is a medium. Really, anyone who is a sensitive person can be used as a medium. Now, what makes shaman a little different is there's some specific initiation practices that put you in shaman category. It's a little more dangerous. When I say a little more dangerous, I mean it's a lot more dangerous. I don't know if I'd recommend everyone to try to go shaman route, because some people won't survive. You have to realize in shamanhood with their initiations, you either live or you die. It goes down the line. You go through an initiation. If you live, you go on to the next step. If you don't make it to the next step, then you know what happened. You're not on this earth anymore. So. There's healers. Many empaths are healers. Did you notice that it was quite funny in that show Naruto? He healed his enemies, even though he defeated them. A lot of times they would have that self-reflection. They would have a moment where they would tap to their self. Now, some of them it was too late. They had to face their karma. But some of them got to heal and actually became allies in a way. Look it up. Look it up yourself. You have a good one.